목적 폭동이라고도 하고 있고요.
예. 근데 왜?
새벽부터 전화가 너무 와서요.
네가 여기 웬일이냐?
나 니네 응원단장 대전까지 1시간이면 가는데 치워.
어디? 아니 저 화장실에 누가?
손님 괜찮으세요?
살려야 돼! 확인.
A terrifying virus, emerging from the darkest shadows, spreads like a raging inferno across South Korea, transforming people into bloodthirsty zombies. Panic seizes the streets, and the government, in a desperate act, imposes martial law, plunging the country into oppressive, terrifying chaos. Suk-woo, a stockbroker consumed by work and trapped in the ruins of his broken marriage, lives with his young daughter, Suin, whose innocence contrasts with the cruel world around them. In an attempt at redemption, he agrees to Suin's birthday wish, to travel to Busan to reunite with her mother. Together, they board a Korea train express, unaware of the horror awaiting them. Among the passengers are Sang-hwa, a brave-hearted worker, and his pregnant wife, Song Kyung, whose fragility constantly reminds him of what's at stake, a youth baseball team, including Yongguk and cheerleader Jin-hee. Clinging to hope of youth, the cold, selfish executive Yeon Sang-ho, whose greed radiates like poison, the elderly sisters In-gil and Jong-gil, burdened by their years, and a homeless man, eyes glazed from trauma, muttering about a zombie attack he witnessed, his voice broken by terror. Just as the train is about to depart, a stumbling young woman bursts aboard. Unnoticed by the conductor, her body shakes violently, a bloody bite on her leg, revealing the horror within. In an instant, her convulsions turn into a guttural shriek, and she transforms into a grotesque zombie. With a savage attack, she tears apart a train attendant, unleashing a wave of blood and chaos that spreads the infection like wildfire. The train becomes a death trap. Passengers, hearts pounding, struggle to escape the frenzy of the infected. Sang-hwa, driven by the instinct to protect his wife, barricades a door with trembling hands, knowing the zombies, blind with fury, cannot open it. Song Kyung, pale and tearful, pastes newspapers on the glass, blocking the view of the creatures stirring on the other side, their growls echoing like an omen of the end. The conductor, voice cracking with fear, announces the train will divert to Daejeon, where police are supposedly guarding the station and will quarantine everyone. Suk-woo, desperate to save his daughter, contacts a general he knows, pleading for an escape from their fate. But when the train stops in Daejeon, hope vanishes. The station is a living graveyard. The police, now monsters, lurk in the shadows. Passengers, attempting to flee, face a horde of zombies pursuing them with insatiable hunger. In the chaos, the group fragments, running toward the train in a desperate race for their lives, screams and the stench of death enveloping them. Suin, tears streaking her face, huddles beside Song-kyung, whose trembling body shields her swollen belly. In Gil, eyes dulled by age, and the homeless man, consumed by silent terror, find fragile refuge in a corner of the train. The conductor, voice shattered by panic, restarts the engine toward Busan, the last city standing as a fading beacon in a world devoured by the virus. Their only hope, a glimmer of salvation in an ocean of death. Suk-woo, Sang-hwa, and Yeon-guk fight tooth and nail, pushing through a tide of zombies that growl and claw the air. Each step is a gamble against horror, but they discover a vital secret. In the dark, zombies are blind, reacting only to sound, hearts pounding like war drums. They use this advantage to rescue Suin, Song-kyung, and In-gil, moving toward the front cars, where the last survivors cling to the illusion of safety. But Yeon-suk, a human poison, lurks among them. With venomous words, he sows fear, convincing others that Suk-woo's group carries the infection. His lies fuel panic. The survivors, blinded by terror, lock the doors against them. Suk-woo, desperation etched on his face, pounds on the door with Yeon-guk, pleading to be let in. On the other side, Sang-hwa confronts the zombie horde, his body a wall against hell. But fate is cruel. A zombie sinks its teeth into his flesh, and with a heart-wrenching scream, Sang-hwa falls, sacrificing himself to give his pregnant wife a chance to escape. The group, broken and bloodied, crosses into the car, but In-gil, her strength exhausted and heart shattered, is left behind. Too weak to run, she chooses not to be a burden, her frail figure vanishing into gloom as zombies close in. Yeon-suk's cruelty persists. With a voice dripping with contempt, he insists Suk-woo's group is a threat, forcing the survivors to crowd into the front vestibule. Jin-hee, clinging to Yeon-guk, follows them, her love battling the fear consuming them all. The vestibule door seals shut, but the horror continues. Jung-gil, eyes burning with fury born of pain, watches through glass as her sister In-gil, now a hollow-eyed monster, wanders among the zombies. Rage and helplessness tear her apart. Unable to bear Yeon-suk's betrayal and her sister's cruel fate, Jung-gil, with a shriek torn from hell itself, opens the door. The zombie horde bursts like an avalanche of death, devouring the passengers in the main compartment in an orgy of blood and screams that resonate like the end of the world. The train abruptly stops at Daegu Station, a place reeking of death and abandonment. The conductor's trembling voice echoes through the loudspeakers, promising a locomotive to take them to Busan, the last refuge against the apocalypse. But the path to salvation is a nightmare. The survivors must cross the tracks, a labyrinth of abandoned trains where a horde of infected lurk. Their growls resounding like an infernal chorus in the gloom. Suk-woo, face hardened by fear and determination, moves forward with Song-kyung, whose hand trembles over her belly, protecting the life within. Suin, eyes wide, clings to her father, while the homeless man, consumed by terror that barely allows him to speak, follows like a broken shadow. Yeon-guk and Jin-hee, separated in the chaos, fight on their own, their youthful love facing unimaginable horror. In a moment of respite, Suk-woo's phone vibrates, and his analyst's broken voice reveals a chilling truth. The virus is a monster created by YT Biotech, a company linked to Suk-woo, an experiment that escaped due to negligence. Guilt hits him like a punch, but there's no time to process it. Yeon-suk, the vile executive who breeds selfishness, survives with a trained assistant, an innocent man unaware of the cruel fate awaiting him. Without a shred of humanity, Yeon Sang-ho pushes him toward the zombie horde, using his sacrifice as a shield to escape. The assistant screams mix with the crunch of torn flesh as Yeon Sang-ho runs without looking back. His soul is rotten as the infected. In another car, Yeon-guk and Jin-hee hide, their hearts beating in unison. But Yeon Sang-ho, like a relentless predator, finds them with chilling cruelty. He throws Jin-hee toward an opening where zombies lurk. Their claws snatch her, and a shriek of agony cuts the air as a zombie sinks its teeth into her. Yeon-guk, heart shattered, stays by her side, refusing to abandon her. But love cannot stop the inevitable. Jin-hee, eyes already empty, bites him, sealing his fate in a tragedy that extinguishes hope. The conductor, in a desperate act to save Yeon Sang-ho, falls under the claws of the infected, his sacrifice futile against the tide of death. At that moment, a runaway train collides with the infected car, unleashing a thunderous crash that shakes the soul. Debris traps Suk-woo, Song Kyeong, Suin, and the homeless man, enclosing them in a metal tomb surrounded by hungry zombies. Despair suffocates them, but the homeless man, with a look mixing madness and redemption, throws himself against the horde, offering his life in a final act of bravery. His screams fade as the zombies tear him apart, giving Suk-woo, Suin, and Song Kong one last chance. Hearts in their throats, they run toward the locomotive, already moving, the roar of zombies pursuing them like a living shadow. Every step is a cry against fate. Every glance back a reminder of the hell they leave behind. The locomotive is their only salvation, but the price of reaching it is written in blood. The locomotive, a fragile thread of hope in a torn world, moves forward with a roar that cannot drown out the terror. But death is already aboard. Yeon Sang-ho, transformed into a monster with glazed eyes and black veins pulsing under his skin, lurks in the shadows. In a moment of pure horror, he lunges at Suk-woo, teeth sinking into his hand with a gruesome crunch. Blood gushes, and Suk-woo's scream tears the air as, with desperate effort, he throws Yeon Sang-ho off the train. The infected body vanishes into the darkness, but the damage is done. Suk-woo, face pale and eyes filled with panic fighting resignation, feels the virus's venom coursing through his veins. Every heartbeat is a sentence. With trembling hands, he guides Suin and Song Kyeong to the engine room, their final refuge. Between gasps, he shows Song Kyeong how to stop the engine, his voice breaking under the weight of farewell. He kneels before Suin, his little daughter, and embraces her with aching tenderness, his eyes reflecting infinite love and unredeemable guilt. "I love you," he murmurs, as Suin's tears soak his chest. He leaves the room, closing the door behind him. Alone at the back of the locomotive, the virus claims him. His body shakes, hands clench, and an inhuman growl threatens to escape his throat. But in that moment, a memory envelopes him like a flash of light in the darkness. The first time he held newborn Suin, so fragile and perfect in his arms. A tear rolls down his cheek as the world fades. With a final act of will, Suk-woo lets himself fall from the locomotive, his body swallowed by the night, sacrificing himself so his daughter can live. Suin and Song Kyeong, alone in a world that seems to have forgotten mercy, approach Busan. But hope is fragile. A checkpoint forces them to stop the locomotive and walk through a dark tunnel, a passage like the throat of hell. On the other side, soldiers with hardened faces guard the perimeter, weapons ready to annihilate any moving shadow. In the gloom, they cannot tell if the emerging figures are human or monster. Rifles rise, fingers tremble on triggers, and death seems inevitable. Then, a fragile sound breaks the silence. Suin's trembling voice, singing through sobs Aloha-i, the song she prepared for school play, unfinished because her father, lost in work, wasn't there. Each note is a lament, a cry of humanity in a world that has forgotten what it means to be alive. The soldiers, hearts heavy, lower their weapons. They recognize life in that broken melody. Reinforcements rush toward them, and as Suin and Song Kyon emerge in the tunnel, dawn envelopes them, a faint ray of hope in a shattered world.